Thank you all so much for your time this morning to talk about Girls in Aviation Day. As our lovely Jessica Belcher has pointed out, we are 91 days to Girls in Aviation Day 2022. Yes, it's exciting, and yes, it is. The light you see in the tunnel is a train speeding towards us, but it's the most fun train that we've got all year long. So we're super excited. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You will, within the next 5-7 days, see the chapter and host kit for Girls in Aviation Day 2022 in your email boxes. We are still ironing out some challenges with our merchandising process. I am happy to announce that you will be able to get your kits for free this year for Girls in Aviation Day. So I'm going to ask you in your emails to tell me how many people you expect at your event, and so we can plan accordingly, make sure we are properly staffed, and make sure we are properly supplied. But there'll be a process. You can order it online. Again, if you are outside of the country, outside of the United States, we're going to ask you to order it a little bit earlier in mid-July, and inside the States, and with events on Girls in Aviation Day, which is September 24th. You have an extra couple of weeks. But the part of the reason for this hard deadline is, as you guys all know, everybody's seeing this, shipping is a nightmare right now and takes, first of all, it's very, very expensive, but it's taking forever for stuff to ship. So internationally, we're seeing things take months to get to you guys. So we want to be sure that your kits get to you in time, and both inside the United States, outside the United States. So those are some pretty firm deadlines. And I'll get that out to you again by the end of next week. So by next Friday, you will have an email in your inbox with the chapter and host kit for Girls in Aviation Day 2022. I'm going to ask you for some information. So you got to, respond to me and give me some data. And then you can go ahead and order. Yes, no limit. Although I am going to ask for your patience and to make sure that you don't order more than you need, right? So it's not that we're getting the kits for free. They still are costing us roughly $10 each. So just order what you're going to need. There will be a limit on the website, but if you need more, you can always come to me and say, hey, I need more, and I'll feed you a code so you can, up your order a little bit. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Jessica Belcher and Mina Carlson from the Stars of the North chapter. The Stars of the North have been having a Girls in Aviation Day since the very first one. And they've been knocking our socks off, basically, since the very first one. For everybody on this call and everybody who's watching it recorded, because it is being recorded and it will be on our WAI YouTube channel. The Stars event it blew our socks off the very first year with 2,000 kids, and they've been having 2,000 attendees year after year after year. That doesn't mean your event needs to be 2,000. 2,000 is fantastic. 12 is fantastic, because these events absolutely change lives. So you will have an impact wherever you are in the scale of size of the event. But the tools that the Stars are going to talk about will apply to you regardless of the size of your event. So it does scale. The tools scale. So don't be intimidated by the size of the event. they have just learned how to do it really well. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to talk about their process a little bit. Jess and Mina, do you guys want to share the presentation, or would you like me to share my screen and drive?
Yeah, so thanks for entertaining me today. Yeah, if I sent it to you, so either way, I just text Jessica too, so.
I have it. If you'd like me to do that, I can. If you want to do it yourselves, you can.
Okay, I whichever way. I see Jessica saying yes. So
yeah, I can as well, Molly, but if you have it loaded and ready, I welcome your guidance here to drive the ship.
All right, stand by one. Okay. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, take it away, Mina and Jessica.
Hi, I'm Mina Carlson. I'm with Stars of the North. And thank you for entertaining my connection this morning. I'm hot spotting in from like northern Minnesota. So that's kind of, we make everything work, right, with today's technology. With me is our amazing chapter president, Jessica Belcher. And her and I are just gonna kind of, this is a big presentation. This is also the presentation we did over at Women in Aviation Conference earlier this spring. So we'll hit on the highlights to keep within our time frame. So next slide, please. With that being said, I do also operate as a treasurer for Girls in Aviation Day, and there's kind of a twofold to that because our event does require a budget on any size. So in a board of directors conversation, we talked about, well, how does this work and what would be the best case scenario? So we decided to pair the treasurer role with the Girls in Aviation Day director role, just because there is so many components to funding this event. Last year, we did decide as a board to separate Girls in Aviation Day from board conversations and board meetings because we saw that it was becoming the focus of all of our board events. So we actually have a total subcommittee that plans, works, meets on a regular basis that is separate from the board events and board activities and board goals. So, and these are some of the folks that were with me in Nashville, was it? Or was it Memphis? So back in February. So next slide, please. I think a lot of you are familiar with the back history and the mission. Molly's done a fantastic job over the last few years of kind of really hitting it home and why, our big why. Next slide, please. With that being said, we've discovered in our event that there is some business of hosting a Girls in Aviation Day. It can be anywhere. It can be in a hangar. It can be it doesn't need to happen at an airport. It can happen at if you're lucky enough to have a corporate partner, you can do it at a park. You can do it at, if you're lucky enough to get in access to a school on a Saturday. It does not necessarily need to be at an airport deemed facility, if you want to call it that. Our other big lesson learned out of all of this is to be flexible. There are things that pop up during the entire process. We've had every year is a learning experience for us. We've had a lot of things where, more exhibitors show up on the day of that we didn't know they were going to be there. More planes show up for statics that we didn't know they were going to be there. So we've had also technology issues. We've had power issues. We've had, last year was our first year that we were confronted with dealing with volunteer issues, and that in the regard being like safety. So there's all different things to think about and consider, and just being flexible is a big thing. I will say that we are pretty lucky. WAI does put out international materials, so if there is a different dialect that you're looking for, I think Spanish is the specific one that there are materials available for. And that might be something that you'd have to consider if you're in other international dialect. Next slide, please. And I think all these slides are available to Molly. I know they're on the WAI app. Yep. And then these are free to share with any persons that request them. And like Molly said, this is all going to be on a video. So things to consider about when you're looking at, okay, well, how do I go about hosting an event? You do need volunteers. This is not a one-woman show. This is multiple people getting involved. You know, a couple of other things too. It's a fundraising opportunity. We use it as a fundraising opportunity for us. We put together a QR codes. We put together donation boxes. Even at our registration, our registration tent, we also we ask for donations because we try to make this event as a free event for all of our participants that do come. So it's a way to fundraise. We use at our chapter tent, we put in a couple different activities. Like last year we tried tie-dyeing Girls in Aviation Day logo t-shirts and making that into a fundraiser. Super fun activity. And we just needed to, but it was a test to see how we could do it. And I would say it went over well. So other things to think about, if you are lucky enough to have some military representation, it's great if you can reach out to somebody who can help weather that language barrier. I'll leave it at that. And if you have any more questions about that, just reach out to me. I can help you with that. One thing to think about in today's global climate that we work in and that we live in, emergency planning. It's the safety of your persons, of your participants. It is what it is in today's environment we live in. So weather, medical, and hostile behaviors are the ones that we spend time on. About a month out to our event, we spend time going over those emergency planning activities and how to, and getting all of our leaders into the know so that they have it fresh in their mind. Next slide, please. So our group over time has figured out, like I said, this is not a one-person show. We have a lot of people in our planning committee, and we usually start our planning around, I won't say December, but it starts in January. And a lot of the folks, we're super fortunate, come back year after year after year. They just love the event. They love the mission. So these are some of the roles that we put out there that, hey, are you still interested in doing this? Because some people have perfected these roles. And then we also invite new stars to come up and say, hey, there's a great volunteer opportunity. Is anybody interested? Next slide, please. Post-event. So you've had this amazing event. You live in the moment. During the day, take a moment to stop and recognize all of your hard work is coming to fruition. And like Molly said, you are making a difference. I have personally talked to at least a dozen girls over last year's event alone that have pulled the trigger, are doing something in aviation now. Jessica just emailed me the other day. There was a young female who applied to an all-inclusive 3-week camp to get her to her solo. And we did the letter of she found out about the camp through our event. We did a letter of recommendation for her, and I had no idea she had been accepted. So Jessica was notified that she was accepted, and which is amazing. But this came out of our event, so we know that the young females are attending. We know that they're doing their research. We know that that we're making a difference. Big thing is you've had this event. Take a moment to rest afterwards. Celebrate, but rest. We actually have one of our previous stars, Dawn Barrett. She hosts our after party for us every year. So so all of us get to go over to her house and have an amazing after party. It's a long day, but it's well worth it. And one big thing that I've recognized is having I already plan our debrief, and I put it on everybody's calendar before we even get to Girls' Day. So I already know, hey, we're going to have a debrief over lessons learned. You're not quite off the hook yet. So I do make everybody show up for that debrief. in terms of the finances, make sure you're collecting your receipts, reimbursing where appropriate, and thank yous. Thank yous are huge because it takes a village to get this event going. So yes, those thank yous. Molly, I don't know if you're able to share, but we were able to share one of our thank you gifts with Molly this past year. So, and we do all different types of thank you gifts, and there's no rules in terms of what you could do. I think Molly's got she's done signed frames, and we've done plaques, we've done like a group photo, like there's we work with a fantastic graphic artist who is an ex-Cirrus employee, so she does this amazing work for us, and she designs our thank you cards for us. And so like we're looking at a lot of different ways in thanking our community and all of our volunteers that contribute to our event. Next slide, please. Educational. Jessica, do you want to take a moment to kind of go over the education?
Yeah, I can certainly do my best. We
right.
do have 2 rock stars within our Girls in Aviation Day leadership team, Keisha, who's here in the audience. So Keisha, if I misspeak or you want to elaborate on something, please do chime in. And Amber, who was not able to join us today, but the team of them together are just absolute rock stars. So with our educational activities, the idea is to put together quick activities that showcase something in STEM for our attendees to see and do. It's one thing to explain a concept or principle to a student. It's another fun thing to be able to do it, see it in action, and say, okay, this is why this happens. So we have a big part of our event that are educational activities. So we try and do, I want to say like 3 or 4 different activities for the students to take part in. These are kind of planned throughout the year, and Keisha and Amber work very hard to get the supplies together, the concepts together, and to be able to teach these to our volunteers that then teach them to the students. So the idea with this is make it fun, but keep it simple. Just make it something that everybody can enjoy, learn something, and take away from that at the end of the day. So it says on here, don't reinvent the wheel. Keep it simple. There's some suggestions on our app that we put together, and then Google for STEM activities. It's all out there on Google as well. So yes, thank you, Molly. Next slide, please. And keep in mind as well, there is more into aviation than being a pilot. I think of myself as a poster child for that as well. So I love when we're able to say, yes, aviation, and yes, there's a lot more than that. So it's fun to spotlight our mechanics, our inspectors, our meteorologists, our aircraft salespeople, all sorts of people that are involved in the aviation industry. STEM, of course, is something to incorporate, but if you can sneak that in there with our educational activities, that's even better, right? Like you're having fun and you're learning. It's the best. And okay, plan your space. So we have a beautiful hangar that we're able to use with our partner here at Flying Cloud Airport with JetLinks. So we're able to kind of plan out the space of where people will go. And you can kind of see on here on the screen, if you're able to read it, where we actually have locations planned, and you'll have multiple volunteers usually doing the same activity together just to kind of make better use of the space that you have. So multiple stations with the same activities kind of spread out the space and move around with the different activities that we have planned. And again, be flexible, things may change. Let's see, communication here is huge, big communicator. The balloons helped kind of direct people around. A different color balloon designated a different type of activity or different station to go to. Visuals are fantastic as well, so people know what they're coming up to. Sometimes, it might be difficult to walk up to someone and say, well, what is it that you're showing me here? So if you have an example, it's nice to show this is what you're going to do, or this is how this can come together. Let's see, I see a chat from Keisha. That's awesome. Awesome, lots of educational activities coming. And let's see, oh yeah, and the YouTube channel showing the Baronet chair, that was kind of fun as well to have not just a visual, but the chair and the video showing what they would do at that particular station. So communication is very helpful in this type of situation. So much help. We need a lot of help with our event. As you guys may have seen, the Stars of the North have a very large event, so we need a lot of helpers. And of course, as it says here as well, you might have a lot of people sign up, schedules change, they may not be able to make it. So solicit a lot more volunteers than you think you'll need. And again, lots of communication. Here's what we need. Here's when we need you. Here's what you can expect. just to kind of keep everybody in the loop of where they'll be, are they inside or the outside, all sorts of things to keep in mind with your volunteers. And of course, I want to be very thankful to them as well. So lots of thank yous, lots of but showing appreciation to your helpers are also very important. Let's see. Lots of instructions, lots of roles. So you'll want to have, like it says here, a leader that can kind of teach the instruction to your other volunteers as well. So you kind of have different tiers of people to work through and just kind of get everybody up to speed for what they'll be doing. And the last item here, documentation, saving your work and having things to pass along. Your succession planning is so very important. We are fortunate to have had so many of our volunteers come back year after year, and it's nice to have that documentation of what you've done and why it worked well and continue to build upon that. So it's also very important when putting together an event and different activities. All right, exhibitors and statics. Mina, did you want to take this one?
Sure.
Awesome.
So exhibitors and statics, and kind of the thought process of bringing exhibitors and statics is how many persons have ever actually seen an airplane up close and up front. There's still a lot of folks that have never seen an airplane up close and up front or been on one. And the exhibitors, we bring them in for a lot of different reasons. Not only are they showcasing all of the different types of careers and options, but who are those folks that are hiring in our community itself? And it's fun for the exhibitors too, who are aviation based backgrounds, and they come to the event and they're interacting with future workforce. So that's huge in terms of just making some brand loyalty connections right at these young ages, because we all know, like, you know, the first time you go to Target, right? Oh, Target is a way you're going to go for the rest of your life. So similar concept. And it's fun too, because a lot of the exhibitors bring a lot of great swag. I mean, they have some of the best stuff. So it's kind of like going and getting all of your, you know, all you need to fill up on your Tide sticks. Come to our event. We've got plenty of exhibitors that hand out Tide sticks. So these are just some of the ideas of all the different organizations to reach out to and see if they would be willing to come to your event. You know, some of the highlights: police and fire, they want to be there too. They have they have skin in the game. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, well, how does police and fire get involved in this? Well, they've had so many different facets. At local airports, it might be the local fire department. It's not an airport specific fire department that would respond to a crash fire rescue incident with any aircraft anywhere, farm field, etc. So these are just some of the examples of some entities within your area to reach out to. Next slide, please. So like I had previously mentioned, we in Minnesota, just because we do have a large event, so we start our planning several months out. Big thing with statics and exhibitors, I think it's a lot harder on their planning prep to start pinpointing folks out in airplanes that far out. So they really start their game plan about 6 months out. You know, we can't predict the weather, so that's always one of those caveats, you know, but simple things of making save the dates and getting out there and saying, okay, if you are able to come, you know, what would you need to support your representation? So other things like that can be done. I know that, you know, we do, we lock and load all of our email communications. So, and we have them proofread, we have them all of our winter projects, if you want to call it that. We go through all of that type of stuff with our some of our prep. And then because we do have a fantastic partner who's come forth again, we're able to do our mapping and our layout and look at like, okay, well, how, you know, realistically, what are we thinking? And then we also talk about like, what are we missing in our event? I know that we're missing representation in our maintenance area. I know that we're missing representation in our air medical area. So guess what? So this year's focus is to get maintenance at our event and get air medical at our event. So those are things that, you know, they took on as personal goals. Next slide, please. They start to get a lot busier a month out, and that's just touching base again, confirming that they'll be able to join us. And guess what? It's also the time that a lot of folks, hey, yeah, I've got budget, or I've got the weekend, or I've got, you know, oh, I'm going to be able to bring this. My boss approved this. It's going to be really cool. Or my company's willing to donate this. Can I get a bigger booth? So that last month is kind of a lot of different conversations. We have two fantastic volunteers that manage the chaos, if you want to call it that. So I think last year we had close to 30 some exhibitors. Jessica, you can confirm the exact number, but it's 30 some different exhibitors. And with the total persons that manned all of those booths, I think it was close to like, it was either 800 or 100, or I'm sorry, 80 or 120 persons that they were communicating with. And that's not including our statics. I think our statics, we blew it out of the water last year with close to 35 statics. So now we've got moving props, we've got planes of all different generational make. We've got, you know, just pilots that are not tech savvy, so they weren't even registering. They're just calling ATC and saying, hey, I'm flying in. So we've got a lot of different things that are happening that last month out. Okay, next slide, please. This is an example of a footprint. Your footprint does not have to look like this, but this is what we've worked up. We do this setup a day ahead of time. The host site is generous enough for us to get in there a day ahead of time. They clean it out, they empty out all of their commercial ops. Literally, it's very, very generous in terms of what this company does for us. They move all of their commercial ops so that we have access to this big, beautiful hangar. There is a rhyme and reason to the red and blue. We designate the red area as our education area and the blue is our exhibitors. So, and kind of just a little pro tip per se with the exhibitors, all we do is we tape their name down to their table. And then we ask them, you know, in one of our communications, we say, okay, your name is taped to your table. We'll check in with you as soon as you arrive. So, because we've tried a formal check-in process before, and it doesn't work. Like we just said, you know, setup starts at, you know, 7:30. We ask that you be done by 9:30, and we will check in closer, you know, to 9:45 with each organization. So that's just a little pro tip that we've discovered works the best for us. Next slide, please. This is just an example of what our event looked like in 2021. We had a local flyer at our airport be able to take this aerial shot for us, but you can see that we have fire trucks, we have snow plows, we have school bus parking that we had to think about. We had no idea to expect school buses until school started in September. So we're like, oh, right, school bus parking. So all the different statics, and you can see that this is our footprint. One thing that we totally forgot about was all the volunteer and exhibitor parking. So you can see that off in the far corner, you know, over by the CRJ 900, we dealt with it in the moment, again, being flexible. However, exhibitors and statics, we weren't under control for their parking. They were starting to inch towards the taxiway and the airport manager was like, time out, time out, time out. You need to reroute them. We're like, yes, of course. We were planned for participant parking. We totally had forgotten about all of our exhibitors and statics and their cars. So it was a growing pain, but we dealt with it. It was immediate reaction, being flexible. We shifted some of those volunteers that were like, you know, over by our participant parking. We were able to overcome that hurdle really, really quick. And the airport manager was still happy with us. Next slide, please. And like I said, this is one of those things that happens, just the follow-up. Thank you cards. This is an example of what we sent out last year and what the graphic artists put together for us. Keeping that database of all of your addresses. And we do hard cards. We did not do an electronic card. We did physical cards for all of our volunteers, all of our exhibitors, all of our static plane owners, and all of our companies. So we did a physical card for like I said, that whole entire list. So our contact list is quite large, and that's one in our registration. We ask that they're always updating their contact information, et cetera, et cetera. On the back office, if you want to call it that, it dumps into an Excel spreadsheet. We've got a couple great folks that are techie folks in our organization that do all of those business admin things for us, and then print, here's your Excel sheet, here's your Excel sheet, here's your Excel sheet. And then everybody gets their cards and they send them out. Big thing that we have also noticed is a save the date. We, on every single exhibitor's stand, we put a save the date in a little welcome baggie that we do for each exhibitor. So each exhibitor gets a little welcome baggie, like some waters, some candies, and a save the date card, and maybe a chapstick or two. So And then this year, I think we're going to do a thank you video as well that we'll put out to YouTube, that we'll send out to all of our organizations. So it's just something that these folks are coming and they're sponsoring in some shape, form, or fashion. We're trying to make a value added experience for them to continue to come back and support our organization and our event. Next slide, please. Multimedia. Jessica, that's your jam.
That's me. This is one of my favorite parts of this whole event planning. So you've got, your volunteers, your attendees, your site, your date, all of these awesome things at play, but how do you tell people about your event, right? That's kind of the fun thing of like, you have all this work, now you get to show it off. So I kind of like to think of this with 4 different audiences. Your attendees, which would be one group of people, your volunteers, which will be another group of people helping, your exhibitors who are there to talk about what they do, and then your donors and sponsors, the ones that are opening their wallets, that are donating their monies to you to put the event together. Like Mina said, the event is free for everyone to come to, but it takes a lot to put this together. So we're working with a lot of audiences here to make this dance all smooth and pretty. So keep those 4 audiences in mind while you're working on these multimedia parts of your event, whether it's Girls in Aviation Day or a different one, but specific to Girls in Aviation Day. These are the 4 I like to keep in mind. Next slide, please. So some tools to use while you're working on this approach are a website, if you have one for your chapter, social media, Canva for creating documents. You guys can read that. We'll kind of go through each of those through the presentation. But those are just kind of things that I'll touch on quickly as we run through this. So next, please, website. This is a screen grab of our chapter website, which is built through Squarespace. This is our Girls in Aviation Day specific page where all of that information is collected in one place for a website visitor to figure out what the event is and how they can take part in it. For our merchant site, I'll just mention as well, we use Stripe to collect funds. So there's a donation page on our website where donations are accepted there. It's all right in a one-stop shop, which we love. Keep it simple, right? Next, please. Event registration. We use this free page called QGive. You can add a donation option on there as well. And this is where your attendees would sign up, your parents signing up their children, your troops signing up, your church groups, whatever that might be. And there's conveniently a donation option on there as well. Should a person say, we're coming to this event, it's free, we would like to make a contribution to help offset the goodies we're picking up that day and the experience we're getting. The photo release is on there as well. Again, because this is the attendee page and a lot of these attendees are minors, would you just need to have that little checkbox with verbiage we got from WAI, thank you, Molly, to say, yes, I will be there. Yes, I understand photos will be taken. So we have that on there very conveniently as well. Map of the location, FAQs, whatever a parent guardian might need to know for the attendee portion of the event. Next, please. Social media, love social media. For our chapter, we use Facebook, we use Instagram. TikTok is also a big one. I've seen TikTok used quite a bit for social media. When we talked about this portion of the session in Nashville, I raised my hand very boldly and said, does anybody here use TikTok? It was crickets across the room. So hopefully we're kind of embracing TikTok a little more by now. But anyway, with social media, it's a great free way to reach audiences and tell them about your event. Of course, with social media, with Facebook, with Instagram, you may boost ads, pay a few bucks, set a budget, set your parameters of who you're reaching. I do recommend doing that. Put a little bit of your budget towards boosting, and that will help you reach more people beyond just your own networks and your own board and leadership and memberships networks. Hashtags, always use the hashtags. I've got someone here that were provided from WAI. Our chapter uses some as well that we try and develop and manipulate through the years. And keep in mind as well, not everybody uses social media. So don't just lean into that for your only methods of kind of promoting what you're doing. But they're great tools to use. Canva. I love Canva. I don't know if you guys use it, but it's a great free website, a software to use to design graphics. There is a pro level option. I have the URL there, Canva for nonprofits. You can apply and get the pro level access. That's going to allow you more tools than the free version. That's going to give you more stock photos if you're using that sort of thing. It's just so many more features, and it is for free, which we love. So check that out if you haven't. The free option is great as well. But I found that trick and just like to share that every opportunity that I can. Canva is fantastic, canva.com. There's an app as well to use on the phone, but I do like using the desktop version to actually design graphics and then use the app for post-production and sharing. This is our giant banner. So we designed this in Canva, and then I did have to manipulate it and enlarge it even more in Photoshop to make it larger than life. I'm 5'7" if you see me there in the little corner there, so it's quite large. So I used Canva to design the banner, which was actually really fun. And with this as well, I would recommend when you're talking to your donors and sponsors, ensure that you have a nice high resolution version of their logo, because when their logo is literally the size of a vehicle, it really has to be a great format to work with. If you have any questions with that, I'd be happy to help you guys. I know it might be a little more techie, Photoshop-y, a little more than Microsoft Paint. But if you guys have any questions along those lines, let me know. I'd be happy to try and help you if I could be of any help. And again, another great photo of the banner with Deanna and I. She's one of our exhibitor static gurus, and just showing how large the banner was. We were super excited to have that up and in place for the day. It makes a nice impact, and to give recognition to all of the generous donors who are giving their funds to help support the event and support the initiative of Girls in Aviation Day. So we're just excited about that. Photos and videography, of course, a very important part of the event. You have all these people in, you're doing all of these great outreach efforts and initiatives. Well, if you don't document it to be able to talk about it later, you're kind of missing a part of telling the story, right? So depending on what your budget is, you could have someone in your chapter help with photos, but we would really recommend, if you have it in your budget and you have the time, have someone come in that's paid to do it, so that that's their main focus of the day. I would also consider developing a shot list for them so that they capture what you want seen of your day, so you can focus on other things. The time-lapse video, thanks for getting that playing. That's showing our event in the day of our exhibitors portion of the hangar, the education portion, and then it being cleaned up to a nice, clean, pristine floor again, right back to our generous host and the way they delivered it to us to start the day. You can kind of see, looking out through the open doors as well, some of our static display aircraft and guests walking around enjoying the day. I filmed this on an old iPhone, just set up a tripod in the corner, hit time lapse, plugged it in so it wouldn't die, and just let it go. And it's kind of a fun piece to have and show how the day went, what it looks like. And again, photo release, have that available for children, as I mentioned before, but also for adults, just so people realize they might see their smiling faces on a thank you card next year. So it's really nice to let people know, like, hey, this is happening. We want you to be a part of it. We want to collect all of the fun memories and events of the day, and just let them know that that's happening. So. And then, yes, coverage leading up to and during and even after your event. Radio is a great resource to use to reach out. We have a fantastic DJ here in the Twin Cities who's a pilot, who's very involved with Scouts, with Young Eagles. So he does some things around in the aviation community. So he's been a very outspoken advocate for our event and our chapter. News media is great as well, to invite the news media out and have some coverage of the event. Podcasts are great to talk about what we're doing. And then once these are created, you've got social content again. Great also to put on your emails to talk about what you're doing in advance, to let people know, hey, come to this event and this is why.
I will add one of our pro tips that we discovered while Molly figures this out is we actually, all those photo registrations and the permission slips, when they register at the registration desk, we actually give them a wristlet, a wristlet that shows that yes, they have signed up for the photo registration. That includes the exhibitors as well, because we learned again last year, there was one exhibitor that did not have a photo release done for any of their employees. So all of the photos with that particular company, we had to take off of our website and take off of all of our, because we didn't realize that that company had not signed any photo releases. So in that photo release for everybody, this includes your volunteers and your exhibitors, and we just give them wristlets to show that when the photographer is running around, which we are super fortunate to have a retired photographer that only does airplanes and special aviation events, donates his time to come to our event to take pictures, and he takes amazing pictures. But this is one of our pro tips that we've figured out works the best. Also with the military that comes, that they know if they take a picture of anybody that has a wristband, that they've signed a photo release. So for the military, that works as well. If you have military public affairs come to your event, they know that, okay, everybody has signed the photo release, we're good. So that's one of the things that we learned over time. And just to piggyback on some of those outreach conversations, your Department of Education in your state is always looking for stuff to push out to all of the schools. And or if you're in if you just want to target a specific zone area, you know, you can reach out to your Department of Education in your state. Your local aeronautics office also has a list of all of your airport managers in your state. You can push out an email blast or a flyer to all of those different entities and ask them, hey, can you post this in your place of business? So there's a couple different ways to get the message out about your event. Yeah, and I'll let Jessica, I was just trying to fill some space while Molly figured this out. But yeah, that's, yeah, so I'll let Jessica take this back. But I just kind of, those are some pro tips we learned throughout the year.
Oh, those are great tips, Mina. Thanks for jumping in and sharing those. Yeah, the photo release is very important. And I don't think I touched on this yet. I might have it coming up. But with the registrations for your attendees, which we mentioned, for your volunteers, for exhibitors and statics, those people are asked to fill out a quick Google form that says, who are you? What are you bringing? How many people? Do you need power? And the photo release is included there as well. So we've kind of tried to cover all the bases with the different audiences to ensure that we're getting what we need from them. Their mailing address for the thank you card, the photo release, and those sorts of things too. So we tried to cover all of those bases in that respect. To make sure we're not missing any of those important details. To pick back up here, the email blast, again, not everybody uses social media. We've used MailChimp to reach out to people to collect the email addresses and send one email that reaches all 50 or 100 people. Our membership list from our chapter, Eventbrite, is also helpful with connecting with folks. So you've got different tools to use to reach people via email. So just another resource to have in your back pocket to use. Let's see, next, please. And then word of mouth, as simply as you're going out throughout your day, and a lot of us do work in the aviation industry, not everyone does, which is great. Then we have different networks and we're able to talk with other people, different interests, find other people that may like to volunteer for the event or might like to bring their niece, friend, you know, whatever. It's just nice to talk about what we're doing, to spread the word. So don't forget, just chatting with people as you're going throughout their day is another means of outreach to talk about all of these awesome efforts we're doing. And I think, does this go back to you, Mina, for the conference resources?
Yeah, so at conference, I mean, we were able to go to a fundraising seminar, but WAI has a lot of different resources. There is a resource kit that's specifically for Girls in Aviation Day. It has a lot of great how-to tips in it. I mean, go look at it, utilize it, ask questions. We are all here to help. These monthly leadership webinars are a fantastic resource and tool. Even if it's just one person from your chapter that's saying, hey, I'll do it this month, you do it next month, so on and so forth. And in your monthly meeting or your quarterly meeting, however you're doing it, you guys just kind of go over a debrief of like, this is what they get. This is the tip that helps your chapter grow. All of these other tools that they have out there, we are constantly talking. Jessica and I talk a lot via text, probably every day. As we get closer to our event, we talk almost every day, if not morning, afternoon, lunch, whatever. Like we're in constant communication. So, and we kind of have that great working dynamic too. But we also work in the community with each other. And so it's easy to lean into her. Having a dynamic partner like that, being in the position that we are, we have found that it is of high value, and it's a resource for us. You just, in our chapter, we lean heavily into each other. Next slide, please. Here's our contact information. And if anybody would have any questions, we're here to help and help you grow. That being said, we know that everybody is in different places and has different obstacles. So for instance, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't envision us getting there just this year. I'm going to do something. Take a fly-in. Granted, you are not promoting the flying portion. However, if the organizations are saying, hey, yeah, you can do a Girls in Aviation Day as an add-on. You're not promoting the flying part, but if you can figure out something like that, maybe that's a way for your organization and your chapter to start a Girls in Aviation Day. Or if there's a STEM day happening at a local elementary school that you know of, can you reach out to that principal and say, hey, can I tag this on and maybe, do a STEM activity? Could I do a how-to activity and maybe do a lunch and learn and tag that on to your STEM day? Absolutely reach out to that principal and figure out, it doesn't have to be, Stars of the North. I'm super proud of the product and the event that we have. However, everybody's going to look different and it's going to feel different based upon your demographics, based upon your capabilities. And we didn't get a chance to touch on the collegiate side. Collegiate side, you guys have a ton of resources within your student activities department. Go to your dean of students and ask them saying, hey, can we do something on campus? And can we have like a Saturday afternoon? Can we get support from, the dean of students and the activities office? It doesn't have, we gave you a bunch of different ideas. Do some STEM, do a lunch and learn, do a how-to activity, do a guest panel speaker, however it works for a collegiate, because there's a lot of different balls you got to juggle in the air too in that collegiate environment, but you've got a huge campus, use it. You got a beautiful facility. So each area of who can do something, the biggest and most important step is the first step in trying to do something. And I promise you, people will come out of the woodwork to help you. That's it. That's all I got. Over to you, Molly.
Thank you guys so much. I know, hey, everybody, they just laid down a whole lot of wisdom, right? I mean, so I know it's a lot. People are asking if this presentation will be available. Yes, it will. Also, the recording of this session will be available on our YouTube channel. So you can share it with your chapter. You can watch it again. You can take more notes. I'm going to take notes. And I'm actually taking notes now to revise the host kit. I'm going to go back through the chats a little bit and the Q&A. Kelsey Rodriguez is asking, Jess and Mina, I'm going to throw this out for you. For your event, do the parents stay with the girls the entire time? Have you considered having alternate activities for the parents?
So the parents are just as excited to come. Sometimes parents stay with the kiddos, and sometimes the kids are like, we're going to run over here. And the parents are like, yeah, we're going to go check out these planes. So it's either or. You're in a safe, secured environment at our host site. And sometimes the parents like doing the STEM activities themselves. So the kids, it's a mix. It's a mix, depending on the age as well.
So can I also add, I don't think that Mina means that it's a drop-off event.
No, it's not.
Oh,
right.
So we are not, you guys are not babysitters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the parents need to stay put, or whoever's, it might be one parent with a group or one troop leader with a troop of Girl Scouts or whatever. But no, they're not allowed to just drop them and go. But having activities for the parents is a great idea. The Cleveland chapter did that. They actually have kind of a holding pen for the parents, they can plug in their devices, they can talk to mentors, they can talk to people about what the next steps are for their kids. you know, if they're pursuing education or want to talk about the military or whatever. So yeah, that's a really important thing. I'm going to jump in on the next thing about engaging with the girls after the Girls in Aviation Day. So Girls in Aviation Day is fantastic for one day a year, right? And we've recognized this now for at least 10 years that, okay, we've got to come up with something to keep these kids interested for the whole year and keep feeding that passion and keep feeding that curiosity. And we were very, very, lucky to hook up with the Hilton Foundation, who donated a whole lot of money to us for Girls in Aviation Day specifically, that will allow us to expand the program to provide you guys with more tools year round. We're actually hiring a youth program manager to help develop those tools and blow out the program, looking at more materials to provide more publications. We have added a junior membership level at the Women in Aviation level. So if you go to our website, your kiddos can actually join. 18 and under is free. So they can join. There's no more sign up at Girls in Aviation Day or anything like that. It's they just need to go and join at WAI.org, and it's free. So there's more to come on this subject. I'm gonna stop sharing here and look at so I can see people's faces. I'm gonna go backwards on wow, there's a lot of chats because I couldn't see the chats while I was sharing my screen, so many apologies. Lots of questions about the kits. So I'm gonna not give you a lot of specifics right now, apologies, but I want to get it right, because the minute I say something, A, it's recorded, B, you're going to hold me to it. So I want to get it right. And it will all be available in the kit that we provide for all hosts, not just chapters, but all of our corporate members are allowed to hold events as well. So everybody will get that by the end of next week. People are asking about the kits, and I saw one specific question about when will they be available. Y'all, it takes a lot of effort to publish the magazine specifically that is in the Aviation for Girls magazine for 2022. Our merchandise people don't even get that until like the second week of August. So if you've got an early event, I can't promise you kits. We're going to be sure you have kits for a September 24th event. If you have an early event that we're going to not sync up with kits, I know there are a lot of chapters out there who have kits from last year still. We don't have any left. WAI International doesn't have any left, but I might be able to coordinate getting some kits from 2021 from other chapters shipped to you for your Girls in Aviation Day if it's really, really early. Yeah, they're going to be free. Yeah, you're going to be able to order it all online. We're going to provide the first 75 for free. If you have a bigger event, stars, you guys come to me and let me know you're going to have a bigger event. Let's talk about it. If you need 2,000 kits, I'll give you a code for 2,000 kits. Yeah, there'll be a special on our WAI-store.org. There will be on the top bar a button that says chapter/event hosts. Click on that. You're going to be able to go in and order everything you need. And again, just the kits are free. T-shirts and caps and all the other stuff will be available online as well for you to purchase, but the kits will be free. And yeah, it includes shipping. And yes, Melissa in Sweden, who's going to do 3 events, 2 in Sweden and 1 in Norway. We'll ship those we'll ship 2 sets of kits to Sweden and 1 set to Norway for you. No problem. But this is a team effort, y'all. So I'm going to ask for all of your help in this. Again, order what you need. don't stockpile kits. Help us be sensitive. Shipping is going to cost us probably for this effort. It's going to be like $50,000. So it's shipping's really expensive right now. So help us provide more benefits and spend less on that kind of stuff. Let's bundle your orders, right? Don't send me 10 orders with 10 shipments. Let's get it all in one order. And we'll do our very, very best. But yeah, help us be responsible with those orders. Education activities, yeah, we're gonna, all of that actually is online right now. We've got a bunch of educational activities on WAI.org, but there will be more. And uh-oh, the sound, somebody's sound went out? Golly, sorry. Looking through the chat, bear with. Okay, you have a difficult time finding these once they're recorded. Still looking for the finders to share. So if you go to YouTube and look, type in, search for Women in Aviation International, and then find the Women in Aviation International channel. Yep, then there is
we have
hundreds of
playlist.
hours.
Yeah. And we have a playlist that's called WAI Chapter Leadership. So you can see all the monthly webinars and actual playlist.
Yep. So in the kit also will be a form that you can use for parents to sign the photo release and liability waiver. Or what we would recommend is that you use an electronic tool for people to register. So my chapter uses Eventbrite, lots of chapters, there's all kinds of tools you can use, but what that will allow you to do is when they register, they sign the photo release and liability waiver. And we'll provide you with that language. But also we ask you to please provide us the demographics of your attendees. And we're going to give you the options essentially that they, people can choose so that we get a good comprehensive set of data that we can use. Why are we asking this question? Because almost exclusively now, if you apply for grants, which this program relies exclusively on grant money, on the kindness of strangers, people are asking us what kind of diversity and engagement we get from all the various demographic groups. So we have to provide that data when we apply for grants, and we can't do this program without grants. So we've got to be better at getting that data. Last year was the first time we asked for the demographic data. We'll ask for it again this year. So a tool like Eventbrite, Evite, the one, gosh, Jess and Mina, I've never even heard of the tool you guys are using. That's way cool. Use that, and you can ask all those questions up front, and it'll give you that data in a spreadsheet that you can just then send to me afterwards. Let's see. You're asking if, okay. So a lot of chapters have leftover kits. And you're asking if we would prefer you to use those leftover kits or use the new ones. And I'm going to pretty much leave that up to you. You could provide somebody 2 kits. I just don't know how many you have left, but the contents are different. So the bag is going to look the same, but the contents are different, right? So in this year, you're going to have a new Aviation for Girls magazine. You're going to have a new bandana. You're going to have a new keychain. You're going to have a new tattoo. The sectional will be the same, and the bag will be the same. So I don't know if you want to go to the trouble of de-stuffing, one set and you reusing that bag. I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. North Texas, I think we have like 200 kits left from years past. If you have had kits made and they're different colors, like I know that some people have donated bags and they're different colors. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to switch because the branding is important. The continuity, the visual continuity is important year after year to tie it back to this group. And there are a lot of these programs out there, right? But this one is ours. And we take responsibility. We're proud of it. We have some liability with it. So we need for the visual branding to be continuous. So yeah, if you're using different colors, we want you to use the standard colors, and that's also included in the host kit. The logos, the colors, all that stuff. We'd ask, we're going to provide you with the logo for Girls in Aviation Day. You're not allowed to change it. You can't add girls and boys to the logo. You can't change the colors. You can't say Girls in Aviation Day, Nigeria, for example, or Texas. We've got to use Girls in Aviation Day just like it is. But you can use it on everything. So I gave you a long list of what you can't do with it, but what you can do with it is use it everywhere. Use it on flyers, which we'll provide to you also in the kit. You can use it on banners. You can use it on tablecloths and balloons, napkins, whatever you want to put it on, you can put it on. Corporate members, yes. Corporate members who are, I would say, so it's not even all chapters get the kits. The question is, do corporate members get the event or get the kits? Event hosts get the kit for free. So if you're a chapter and you're not hosting an event, I'm asking you not to order kits, right? You don't need them. Corporate members, if you're hosting an event, you'll also get the whole kit, the host kit, and you can order kits for your attendees for sure. Let's see, going back to the YouTube channel, T, you're asking about, yeah, I know there's a bunch there, but yeah, look at the playlists. So the playlists with the chapter leadership events, I think there's only 7 or 8 of them, maybe 9, but they're all there and easily found, easy to sort. Questions on asking other groups to join. Yes, you know, we are the group that plays well with everybody. None of us is as smart as all of us, and we are really trying hard to engage our allies in this process. And what makes this program so very, very powerful is that we are really putting our role models right in front of kids. The kids who attend can see themselves in these careers because we're hopeful that the role models, you know, look like them. They can see themselves in this career. And so, yes, please do invite NGPA and OBAP and Latinas in aviation and Asian pilots. And in addition, Girls and Boys Clubs, Girls Inc., your Girl Scout groups, go to outside of your local school system and, you know, expand your reach and invite kids from further away, perhaps. So I know I'm running through this chat list pretty quick. Okay, so, but I've actually reached the bottom. So is there anything anybody on the panel would like to add? Did I miss anything?
Looks like there was one additional question that was looking for some guidance from you guys, Molly and Rory.
Okay.
It was posted there. Just so you don't miss it before we wrap.
Okay, we'll follow up on email. Yep. Yep, T and Melissa will follow up with you guys on email. Okay, so Again, next Friday or before, watch for the kit, the Girls in Aviation Day host kit, coming to you live via email. And I will also, will also start the series of emails you'll get with the checklist of things to do, right? So pay attention to that. The first thing is going to be, you got to let me know you're holding an event. So, because we're not going to ship anything to you unless I know you're holding an event. So that will also start the list on the website. We've got a lot of emails from a lot of people saying, hey, is there going to be an event in Atlanta? Is there going to be an event in Sweden? Is there going to be an event near me? And so we're going to start a list on the website of where all the Girls in Aviation Day events will be. And then I will then let the merchandise guy know that he can ship you kits. Those kits are not going to ship out until the middle of August, because the magazine, takes time to print and process and ship. So, and not just the magazine, but wow, have you guys tried to order t-shirts lately, or kits, or, backpacks or stickers? Takes forever for us to get this stuff now. So, yeah, middle of August. So, don't put your order in July 1st, and then in July 10th say, I haven't gotten my shipment yet, because yeah, you're not going to get it until much, much later. Golly, there's so much information, you guys. Did I miss anything? Any more questions? Stars of the North. You guys are truly rock stars. Thank you so, so much. You've been killing it on this event. You've taught us that we need to raise our expectations and broaden our scope and our vision for this whole event. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience with us and with the group. You've always been so generous with us with your time. Truly, truly appreciate it. Everybody on the call, thank you so very much for spending an hour and 19 minutes with us. Again, this will be on YouTube, and we will follow up. There'll be a whole lot of information coming your way. So make sure we have your right email addresses. Make sure your officers are updated with us. Rory Einbinder is on the staff call, and she will be updating your chapter information. So if you're not getting emails, we can't communicate with you on this stuff. So please make sure we have your correct contact information. Kelly and Carissa, anything else?
No, thanks so much, Stars of the North. You guys are amazing. As the event planner per se on staff, you guys blow me away. It's amazing what you do with volunteers. Amazing.
It takes the whole team.
Yeah, we are a huge team of fantastic folks that come together every single year. It is not a single person event by any means. And we're super excited. We're going to introduce a couple new things to our event this year. But again, it's taking a whole track of teams. So next year we'll be able to report on like the feedback on these additional things we're adding to our event this year. So I don't want to I don't know how it's going to go. But yes, well, it's multiple. We're doing the Rising Stars, and we're doing the guest panel speaker, the Crooked Path. So yeah, we're gonna implement those to our program this year. But it's truly a passionate thing, and I think everybody here in the Zoom call is passionate about paying it forward. So, and that's what this is all about.
Another cool thing that the Stars do is you bring in other chapters to work with you, right? Are you still working with?
We bring in EAA. We bring in the 99.
What about UND? Yeah, does UND come down?
UND comes down.
Yeah.
And Mankato does as well, the Northern Lights chapter. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you have, I know, for example, the Wisconsin chapters, there are 3 chapters in Wisconsin. I think at least 2 of them get together and co-host their Girls in Aviation Day event. If you have a chapter nearby, or maybe there's a new chapter who wants to work with a chapter that's been around a long time to kind of get your feet on the ground and understand how it works, I would encourage chapters to work together. In North Texas, I know the Austin chapter came up and hung out in Dallas with us, and Nicole Cunningham, I know you're on here. You're invited again this next year or this year. So come on up. I think it's more powerful. We're all more powerful together. I'm going to leave us with this thought. Do not think you have to hold an event for 2,000 kids. If you have 12 kids, if you have 5 kids, if you have 50 kids, you're changing those kids' lives. And it is absolutely wonderful to do a small event or somewhere in between. In fact, I often think, in Dallas, we have a pretty big event. I think we don't get to spend enough time maybe with kids with a big event, a one-on-one at the role model kind of thing. So I think sometimes maybe a small event has a pretty significant impact on kids' lives. So, don't let it scare you away. It doesn't have to be all day. It can be a couple of hours. Do you guys do you, and it's going to be awesome. And let us know how we can help. You're not alone out there. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time, everybody. Talk to you soon.